Hey everybody, this is Deb with Truthification Chronicles, and you probably noticed I didn't have a video up this morning. Sorry about that, but this is the week that I do an orientation class for some writers that are going into a big critique group for the American Christian fiction writers, and I'm a little tired, so I just wanted to share a quick one with you here. This is about William Barr. He did his first news conference today, but don't get your hopes up, folks. It was not anything earth-shattering, but it was about scamming elders. And this is something that's near and dear to my heart because my parents are 89 and 90, and they get these calls all the time about tech things and your computer has got a virus or something like that. And if you just give us some money, we'll fix it for you. And this is going on quite a bit, and if you don't have elderly people in your family, you might not know it's as rampant as it is. I mean, they get calls probably 2 or 3 a day that are like this. And they've also received calls where they start out and say, "Hey, Grandma, it's your favorite grandson." And fortunately, my parents have many, many, many grandsons, and so they never fell for it. But it's very easy for them to say, "Oh, which one, this or that?" And then the scammer has the name and goes on from there. Now, my mom was smart enough that she understood she shouldn't tell them the name and that they would have to tell her the name. And they couldn't do it, of course, but that's one of the things that they catch them on often. And so this is a very difficult problem that's going on. It's something they're trying to get a hold of, and they're trying to find and prosecute these people that are scamming these elderly people. So it's really something that's happening. Sometimes I think we get so caught up in the Trump politic type things that we forget there are other things the Department of Justice is doing. And so Barr really did not speak for very long, and he didn't say much other than they are working on this problem, and he put out how important this problem is to solve because it has happened. And he himself, his picture was going around and claiming that, if people just gave them money, that he's the former attorney general and he knew what was going on and he could find you grants of all kinds of money. Yeah, they used his picture. So it was really interesting, I thought, to listen to this just because I know what my parents have gone through. And fortunately, my parents are pretty smart people, but there are a lot that are not thinking as clearly as when they were younger, and people are playing on that. These scammers, they come in and they do this. As they said in this, they have scammer schools where they teach them how to do this and how to scam people. So I'm just very grateful that my parents are still on the ball enough that they don't fall for this stuff. But my dad has asked me several times. I had somebody call me the other night and they asked about my computer. I said, "Dad, anybody who calls you about your computer is bogus. I'll take care of your computer. Don't let them talk you into anything." So that has helped. Also, it helps that we're from a smaller town and that the person who really does help them with their computer, we know him. He lives next door to my parents. So it's not a big deal. They do understand that. And they're smart enough, like I said, they're on the ball enough that they can do it. But I know there's a lot of elderly people who can't think straight all the time. And it's very easy for them to get confused, especially if a scammer is talking fast or with an accent that they have a hard time understanding. Because, hearing isn't always the best when you get older. So this is the big problem that Barr was addressing here. I think it was worth watching. I'm glad I watched it, but it's not something that I know a lot of people were thinking, "Oh, Barr's going to come out and he's going to reveal something." Yeah, not so much. But he did mention, the Federal Trade Commission was there and that they have been working on it. See, this tech support scam as part of major initiative focused on older adults hit hardest by these scams. So they have an article here. I'll put the links to these down below so you can read them on your own. But they're just kind of an interesting thing. And yes, these types of things are going on all the time. And I think it's really important, especially if you know someone who is elderly, help them out. If they don't think real clearly, make sure that you contact them and keep up with them. Don't let them fall into these. If you know an elderly person who has been a victim of a scam like this, report it. They need to report it. And that's basically what they were saying with this particular conference, that they wanted people to report it. Don't be so embarrassed by it that you don't want to tell the police or the FBI or whatever. They need to know, because unless people report them, they're not going to be able to catch the guys. They do have complaints that you can fill out. There's a form on here. But again, most elderly people are not that into computers. And while my mom used to be able to use a computer pretty proficiently, she just doesn't anymore. She doesn't even touch the computer. And my dad never did. So, my dad's more of an active man. He raises fish. But anyway, I wanted to share this with you. If you know any elderly people, please talk to them about these scams. Make sure that they understand, because this is one of the emphasis they put out, that they need to be educated about this is a possibility. And the two that I have heard them talk about, like I said, is the one with the computer technology. And that seems to catch a lot of elderly people, because that age range right now doesn't seem to know much about computers. And some of them do, some of them may have used them, but the majority really are not that computer savvy. So it's easy for them to fall for something like this. As for the other one, what do you do when you get a phone call that says, hey, this is your grandson, and I need money because something's happened and I went on a trip and now I can't get home? That's what they go off with. And they're playing on that. And they're hoping that the elderly person will slip and will say the names of some of their grandchildren. And that's how they get in on that. My mom was sharp enough she didn't fall for it, because she just has too many. Maybe somebody only has one, and the sound of their voice, you may not connect with the sound of their voice. Or some grandparents have not talked to their grandchildren enough that they couldn't distinguish their voice from somebody else's. So it's easy enough for them to get trapped. So talk to them. Let them know this is the kind of stuff that's out there. If they receive these calls, they should just hang up. And that would be something that would really help. That's what they advise that the elderly do. I don't think reporting the calls themselves is what's going to be the big thing. But if they have fallen for it, if they have paid any money in on this, they definitely need to report it. Okay? So that's what I've got for you. I hope that you found this interesting. And if it's something you find pertinent, you can go ahead and read this article and some of the other things that the FTC is doing to try to stop this. And the Department of Justice is working with them to arrest these people. I hope so, because I think it's just low. It really is slime buckets that are doing this. Anyway, I want to thank you for stopping by, and I will see you all later.